be the guy and step up without Kelvin Benjamin there? Can he be the go-to wide receiver? Greg Olson's not in the field. I'd say yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Funchess, right? Christian McCaffrey had a coming-out party. Jonathan Stewart showed up for the first time, it felt like, in a while. And then you had Curtis Samuel making plays before the injury. Even Shepard, who dropped a few passes, played well in this one. The offense scored touchdowns on 5 straight drives in this one. Ooh. And what's crazy, I wasn't even most impressed by that. It was the defense, which is the #1 unit in the league. Steve Wilkes' boys were swarming all over the field. And it's funny with the NFC, and especially the NFC South, we get all excited about the Saints and that blowout in Buffalo, but it's almost like Cam and the Panthers, like, now wait a minute. Now wait a minute, because guess what? Cam's been to a Super Bowl. Kuechly's been to a Super Bowl. Thomas Davis has been to a Super Bowl. It feels like there's unfinished business, not from last year, but from 2 years ago, and Cam Newton stole the show.
He really did. There was a moment in this game where I think it was like, oh, damn. And not just the NFC South. I'm talking about the NFC, and it was that long run by Cam down the middle of the field, and he was on the ground doing the body shake and everything. The whole company initiative.
What was it again?
It was the body shake and everything.
Bernie? Who's doing the Bernie?
Yeah, she's doing the Bernie. The weekend of Bernie's too. The whole company initiative with protect Cam, get the ball out of his hands. We don't want him to run anymore. And I remember John Madden used to talk about Michael Vick in one of his last calls. He said, you know, people say he shouldn't run. What do you mean he shouldn't run? He's Michael Vick. Of course he should run. The Panthers, guys, 485 yards rushed in the last 2 games. Cam with 181. It feels like, Kay, they've tried to be on this diet where they're like, no, I should eat right. I'm trying to get older now.
You have a whole plan.
Yeah, I got this whole plan. I'm not going to eat this thing. And then you're like, are those mozzarella sticks? I'm going to eat it. You know what? I'm going to be me. I'm going to live my best life. I'm going to be happy. And, Nate, you got to see what Cam said afterwards. He was asked about the long run that he had and how he got caught. Check out Cam. Check out the gear. Look how happy this dude is.
That's embarrassing. That's extremely embarrassing. But I'm going to say this, man. One of my best friends, Deshaun Lawrence, has been jinxing me for years. He said that I don't have in my repertoire or my skill set to break a 50-yard plus touchdown. And all I kept thinking while I was running, I was hoping that one of the Dolphins players, preferably the DB who tackled me, would just slip up, just trip, something. I just wanted to score for him, and I didn't do it. And the first thing I do when I get back to my locker is a text message from Deshaun saying, I told you so. There wasn't enough explicit emojis in my options to send them because he was right.
He looks like he's having fun.
Looks like Cam's having fun. And he's talking about his friend Deshaun saying, I told you so. It's almost as if Cam is telling everybody else in the league, I told you so. I'm still the same guy that you saw before. And now he went 21 for 35. And that doesn't say the half of it because we saw the long run and he almost got 100 yards rushing. And we're saying, oh, my gosh, Cam is back. He's still the explosive, athletic quarterback. But there were some passes in this game. We saw the completions and the touchdowns, but there were some drops. And this isn't to call out the wide receivers. This is to call out Cam and say, Cam, I see you with your accuracy. And here's a couple plays that I'll point to that I noticed early in the game. Now, check this out. You'll see the bunch formation, the double sets on each side. You got the fake screen down at the bottom. And check out this beautiful ball on the sideline. You got the screen and go. Cam's going to look and hit the receiver perfectly in his hands, and this ball is dropped right here by Shepard. Check this out. It doesn't get any better than this. So we're talking about Cam and athletic ability and his ability to run, and Shepard had a couple drops. He was in his head early in the game, as you can see, but that's Cam Newton. Now check it out. We got another play right here. Cam recognizing he has trips to the right side, single receiver to the left. He's going to drop back, and he's looking for his wideout, and this is the accuracy that we're talking about with Cam. Reading the defense, moving the safety, knowing exactly where he goes, and he's hitting the seam route right here to our guy, the Brooklyn Baller. And check out where this ball lands. Out the hands of the outstretched receiver's palms, and watch where this ball lands as my guy, the Brooklyn Baller, tries to haul this in. That's one ball in the hands, one ball in the numbers. As my coach would say, if it was an arrow, it would have killed him. That right there is absolute accuracy. So if we're seeing Cam athletically, we're seeing him rush the ball and throw the ball like this. It's reminiscent. at the time he won the MVP in 2015.
I've been paying close attention to this division, to this team. I look at them like the Falcons. They're too talented to not be successful. They're almost, and Steve Smith said it on our site yesterday, they're in the hunt, right? They're lurking. And defensively, the swag, the confidence has been there for the Panthers. You've talked about it a lot this season. And even against Atlanta last week, that they went for, Atlanta goes for it on 4th and 1, and Devonta Freeman gets, that was like the moment where it was like, okay, we know, we get it. The defense is great. And you're looking for those moments, and him running goes back to that game against Atlanta. He had a 34-yard run. Cam Newton, he's starting to do it. You're saying like he's like letting loose. And I remember sitting here and saying it's the most intriguing storyline for me, what this new philosophy offensively is going to be with Cam not running. Like, is he really going to be inside the 5 and not run it in? Like, of course he is. And it's playing out that way. And they're sort of, and we're saying evolving. No, I feel like they're devolving back to what worked in this offense. And when you listen to Devin Funchess, I have to ask you, that juice he's talking about, that spark, when he hits it and he's like first down, whatever it is, what does that do for the team?
Oh, it's a jolt of electricity through the squad, and that's exactly what they needed. Did you see Cam after Kelvin Benjamin was gone? Completely dejected. I mean, it was like, I don't want to compare it to a death, but it was like losing a loved one, and everybody's bouncing back and around each other saying, you know what? This is what we got. This is who we are. And they look faster than ever last night.
I feel like the whole team gets energized, obviously, by Cam, and everybody knows that. Then I look at what they, like, I feel like, you hit rock bottom sometimes. Rock bottom was Chicago.
17-3.
They lose to Chicago in an awful, then they've won every game since, and I feel like you're right. They're like, hey, we're here.
Yeah. #1 ranked defense and 2-0 since the Kelvin Benjamin trade.
And and they get Greg Olsen back. But that's, that's going to be key down the stretch. All right. We'll talk more about the Panthers after this, but let's send it over to Will Selva for a news update. What's up, Will?
What's going on there, Kay? And I love KB's Weekend at Bernie's 2 reference there. What exactly did Cam Newton do on the field?
He gets possessed by voodoo. Such a good movie.
What was that move?
I just did it, Will. Come on. We haven't gotten to watch The Zone yet. Just wait.
With plenty more.
So you were the one that watched Weekend at Bernie's 2. You were the one.
I had it on a HD DVD
Jonathan Silverman.
Jonathan Silverman.
VHS.
VHS. Laserdisc.
All right, well done.
I'm going
Only
to hit my
you
search
with the
engine and look that up.
Hit it
while
up.
we give our news.
Terrible movie.
All right, let's get to the news here. Well, Chargers quarterback Phillip Rivers could be doing something he's never done before in youth football, high school, college, or NFL.